Okay, so if you've been on the internet recently, you've probably have seen some of these newly generated AI videos.
Oh my god! Where did you two?
And they're off. Oh my Jesus Christ,
No,
look at that.
Literally Jesus Christ
He's
running
halfway
on the
down
water.
the pool already.
And some of these videos have a Sora watermark on it, so for the time being, you can sort of tell whether or not they're fake or not. But a lot of these videos are actually seemingly realistic. Like, if it wasn't for the watermark on some of these videos, I don't know if I'll be able to tell whether or not they're real or not. And so it feels like we've gotten to a point in AI technology where it is almost indistinguishable from real life. And I think for a lot of us, this came a lot sooner than expected. Like, remember this? This video of Will Smith eating spaghetti was uploaded back in the March of 2023, and in just the span of 2 years, AI technology has gotten significantly better. Like here. This video was just generated a few months ago, and although you can tell that it is still AI, it is still significantly better than what it was 2 years ago. And it's crazy to think that just a few years ago, we were laughing at how poorly made AI generated content was. There was a period of time back then when you would see people on TikTok trying to recreate what it was like to watch an AI video. Now, if you've never used Sora before, you would think that every single video comes attached with this watermark. And it is, to a certain extent, but you've probably have seen some videos without the watermark. And that is because there are just numerous other AIs that can help remove it. And I'm not entirely sure about this, but apparently if you get Sora 2 Plus, you do get the opportunity to remove the watermark. Now, it does say on one of OpenAI's FAQs that you are able to generate videos without it, but personally, after reading some anecdotes from people who did buy the Pro version, most of them claim that the feature isn't even out yet. So do proceed at your own discretion. Sora was created by OpenAI around a year ago during the February of 2024. And if you were on the internet back then, you may have seen this video. This video seems convincing enough at first, but if you were to actually pay attention or even just zoom in for a second, you would know that it's AI. For example, the words on the sign don't really look like real words. There are these people who walk behind the lady and just never appear again, and the way that she walks just doesn't really look natural. However, this video was one of the first videos that kind of paved the way for AI generated content. Fast forward to today, and just a few months ago, OpenAI released Sora 2. And so most of the AI videos that you see online with the Sora watermark is created by this model. Now, because of how overly realistic some of these videos are, it's gotten to a point where, at least for me, whenever I open like a TikTok or a reel, I would always wonder if it was AI generated or not. Now, some of these videos are very obvious, but what's to say that I haven't watched the video without even knowing that it was AI generated? Like, I like to believe that I'm actually pretty good at recognizing when a video is generated or not. But when you're at the point of watching hundreds, if not thousands of TikToks in a single day, like what's to say that you haven't skipped past one of them? And that's not to mention how they would even work in a legal setting or how incriminating these videos might end up being. I mean, for the time being, the worst video that I've seen is just a video of Jake Paul putting on makeup. But obviously it's only a matter of time before the videos are used in a more nefarious way. I remember during the early days of AI when you were so clearly able to tell whether or not something was real or fake. Like, remember when AI used to be horrible at drawing fingers? A lot of these early artworks made by AI were easy to distinguish because they would always end up missing a finger, or it would have this very specific AI art look. But nowadays, I'll get some AI art in my feed, and it will be in some crazy artistic style that I've never seen before. So I would like us to play a quick little game. I'm going to show you 3 pieces of artwork, and 2 of them are going to be generated by AI, and 1 of them isn't. We have artwork number 1, 2, and 3. Now, which one is not generated by AI? So you have to try and guess which one is made by a real artist. This one here was made by this person, and so if you want to go check them out, you can. The other two, I'm not going to show the ads for because it's AI generated art, and we don't support that here. Now, if you didn't get that one correct, we can play again. I'm going to show you 3 pieces of art again, and you're just going to have to guess which one was made by a real human. So once again, you have art number 1, art number 2, and art number 3. So which one do you think it was? You were wrong. All 3 of those artworks are actually AI generated. So even if you weren't tricked by me, I think we can all agree that the pictures that I just showed you did in fact look as if a human could have made it. I would also like to point out that nowadays there are artists who use AI to help assist them in their art but aren't open about it. So sometimes what they end up doing is asking AI to, let's say, help with their line art or with their coloring, but still do some part of the work so it's not entirely AI, but they'll just post their art as if they actually made it. And if you're ever wondering if an artist that you know is doing that, I think an easy way to tell is if suddenly an artist just improves drastically. Like if there is a noticeable gap in skill between 2 of their artworks that were released relatively close within each other. Of course, for all intents and purposes, these guys could have just locked in and practiced really hard, so it's not entirely fair to call somebody out for their sudden improvement, but it is something that you should keep in the back of your mind. I think one of the most nefarious things that I've seen AI be used for is actually in pornography. Nowadays, you can pick any celebrity, person, or character and have it generate a somewhat realistic portrait of them. And so even if somebody has never done anything explicit on the internet, there could still be suggestive content of them because of generative AI. And of course, the more popular or famous that you are, the more likely that these pictures of you exist. And since it's the internet, nothing really ever gets deleted. Another thing that AI has done is within the creation of these chatbots that pretend to be your girlfriend or your boyfriend. There are websites and apps that let you pick like a personality of a character that you want, and essentially you can just pretend to talk to them. I think ChatGPT can do this to a certain extent if you ask it to roleplay, but I don't think it does explicit content. So if you want something more sexual, ew. And of course, the point of these AI girlfriends is that you get to like pretend to type to somebody, except it's just an AI and there's no like soul behind it. You know, occasionally I'll see people talk to AI as if it was their therapist, and that's obviously a really bad idea. But I think the reason as to why some people conform to AI is because it tells you what you want to hear. Of course, there's no soul behind those words, but because it's an artificial intelligence, it can curate the perfect response to whatever problems you may have. No matter how wrong your actions are, it will still side with you. Okay, so I actually wanted to see if that was true or not, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to r/amItheasshole, and we're just gonna paste in a few of the prompts into ChatGPT to see whether or not it agrees with us. Now, I'm gonna try and purposely pick posts that are clearly in the wrong, just so that we can see if AI will actually side with us or not. Now, I'm gonna do this on incognito mode, just so that ChatGPT has no history and it is completely new. Okay, so I found this post, and essentially this post is just about this family who is gonna host Christmas dinner at their house, and this person and their wife are both vegetarian, and so they don't really like meat at their house, but part of their family is not vegetarian, so they usually bring like turkey after having cooked it in their own house. They bring it over and then they get it microwaved. However, this person's microwave broke down. Now this person is telling their family that they're not allowed to cook turkey in their house because they don't really want the smell of meat to fill up their oven. And I think obviously when you look at a situation like this, I think that like this guy's clearly not in the right here. I don't think it's really that big of a deal to be cooking food in your oven. And I understand not wanting your oven to smell like meat, but first of all, you can get rid of that after like a while. And also, if you do plan on hosting Christmas dinner, I think that comes with some responsibilities. So I do think that this guy's actually kind of in the wrong here. I don't think it's that big of a deal to let your family use your oven. But we'll see what ChatGPT thinks. And so I pasted the post into ChatGPT, and what ChatGPT ended up telling me was that I was not the asshole. In this situation, ChatGPT agrees with the person who made the post, despite the person who made the post to be in the wrong here. Okay, so in this post, we have this guy who ended up opening a package that was meant for his sister. The package was meant to be a Christmas gift from the sister to their parents, but the OP didn't know that, and so he just ended up opening it. And of course, this guy is over here now, and he's asking if he is the asshole for opening his sister's package. Now, this guy's obviously in the wrong here. You shouldn't be opening any packages if it's not directed to your name. It is a huge breach of privacy, and it doesn't really matter if the package is directed to his sister or to his parents. It's just not okay to open someone else's package. So as you can see here in this response, ChatGPT claims that you are not the asshole. And I think that we've sort of proved that no matter how bad your actions is, ChatGPT or really any other AI that's out there will usually try to side with you and sympathize with you, even if your actions were not justified. I remember there was this study a while back. I don't have the source, so don't quote me on it, but patients were essentially given two responses, one from a real doctor and one from like a robot doctor. And for the majority of people, they found the words from a robot doctor to be a lot more soothing than one from a real doctor. And it's weird because you would think that it would be the opposite. Like a human should be able to better connect with another human rather than a robot being able to do that. But it's not. AI is so good at mimicking human speech and saying whatever it is that you want to hear that oftentimes it comes across as being more empathic than any human could ever be. And as much as it sucks, it kind of makes sense. When you're talking to somebody, there is an entire new person on the other side. Someone with their own issues and problems that they might not be able to fully understand whatever it is that you're going through. But with an AI girlfriend, you can just let all of that go because it'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. Especially now, as the male loneliness epidemic gets worse and worse, we will only see a rise in the use of these AI girlfriends. These lonely people are gonna have to turn to something to fill the void within their hearts. And AI girlfriends and boyfriends so happen to be one of the things that can do that, even if it is superficial. As someone who's still in college, I constantly get these videos of people trying to promote to me their new AI startup. It's these tools that's like, yo, if you use our product, we're gonna make you a straight A student. And the worst part is that all of these AI tools are almost always providing the same thing. The AI will either help you take notes or summarize the lecture, or it will answer questions to whatever is on the screen. And I get it, if you're a student, that might sound great. The problem, however, is that most of the time, these products are not as good as they seem. I think one of the ones that I've seen a lot online recently is this program called Cluey. It's the one that sits on your desktop and supposedly gives you real-time answers to whatever is on the screen. And I feel like the whole marketing surrounding this program is essentially giving you the ability to cheat during like a test or an interview. And sure, standardized testing and job interviews are poorly designed. They don't actually test whether or not you'll be good at whatever it is that they're testing you on, but it just doesn't feel worth it to spend your money on this. So if you were to go look at their website, there are 3 different pricings. One of them is a free version, one is $20, and another one is $75. Now, I'm not going to talk about the free one because it's clearly not worth using, so if you were to use this program, you would either have to spend $20 or $75 a month. The $20 one is essentially just a glorified ChatGPT, and as far as I am aware, the answers that it provides you are answers that come from a multitude of different AIs. So these companies usually license ChatGPT's APIs, or really any other mainstream AI companies like Gemini or Claude, and would use the responses from those AIs to help answer your question. And so if you are a consumer, it rarely ever makes sense to spend the $20 on Cluey when you can just in fact buy ChatGPT Plus. Now, the only benefit that Cluey has over ChatGPT is the fact that you can use it during an interview that requires you to screen share. For example, if you are studying CS, there are interviews where the company might want to see you code live, thus requiring you to show your screen. And in a situation like that, Cluey would definitely provide more value to you than any other AI. Except for that to work, you're gonna have to spend $75 on the Pro Plus edition so that it can be hidden during a screen share. There are also these programs like Turbo AI, and recently I've seen this one called Whisperflow. Turbo AI exists mainly to help you summarize and take notes of your lecture. You can make flashcards and practice quizzes from set notes, which would supposedly help you study. And Whisperflow exists if you're really lazy to type out your paper or an email and instead have it be written for you by talking to it. It does also correct for punctuation and grammar, so you don't really have to worry about that. And of course, all of these programs cost some amount of money, just like how ChatGPT allows for you to use their latest model, but with only a set amount of uses. In theory, these programs sound great. They do in fact take away some of the more dreary parts of the education system. But I also think there's something else we gotta talk about. And it's that if you're gonna spend this much money just so that you can cheat to do slightly better on an exam or an interview, you're doing something wrong. Look, man, I'm not the most academically gifted person. I have cheated on exams before, and I do use AI to help me with my homework. But if you're at a point in your academic or professional career where you feel as if you need AI to do everything for you, maybe you just aren't qualified. No amount of throwing money at AI can solve incompetence. And this might just be a fun fact, but there are studies that indicate that one of the best ways to stop dementia is actually consistent physical and cognitive activities. What this really means is that you just gotta always be learning and doing new things, but if you were to become overly reliant on AI, it will then reduce your abilities to do such things. There was also this study that indicated that AI does lead to better academics. So indeed, students were getting better grades and the overall quality of their essays that they were writing had generally improved, but their critical thinking skills and their ability to analyze something was in decline. So these AI programs do help in the sense of getting you that A+, but that's really all that they're good for. Okay, so I don't think it's fair to talk about the negatives of AI without talking about some of the good things that it does provide. Almost everything that I've talked about so far in this video about AI has had a negative connotation, but AI is not entirely bad. As much as you and I may dislike AI, it is actually pretty convenient. To an average person, the use of AI is but just a tool that they use. I understand that if you're pursuing something creative, that AI will seem really bad, because it does take away a lot of the creative expression of work. But for the majority of people, for somebody who works a 9 to 5 in a cubicle, the advancement of AI is not a big deal to them, and to be honest, it probably helps them more than it hurts. Of course, there are some jobs that are not entirely creative work that will be automated by AI eventually, but like for the majority of people, AI will only help them in their endeavors. My mom uses AI. She uses it to generate pictures of herself or to help her decorate a room. And it's not like she understands the implications of AI and its adverse effects on the world. To her, she uses it because it's fun and it's convenient. And I feel like for the majority of people, that's just how it is. There are people who've never opened Photoshop a day in their life, but can create these surreal pictures using AI. There are people who've never read a peer-reviewed article ever in their life, but can have access to the information of it with the use of AI. Of course, if you've done any of these things, it just doesn't seem fair. Like, I've spent the time on Photoshop to try and learn it to the best of my ability, but AI will always create something that's gonna be better than anything that I'll ever make. It's also super infuriating to see people claim art as their own when all they've ever done is type a prompt into an AI. But as sad as that is, that's just kind of how it is. AI has gotten to a point where it will only get bigger and bigger. No amount of fighting against the prevention of AI in today's society will slow down its operation at this point. And especially as someone who used to do art and film, I understand how it feels to not have any security in your future. And I don't want to be pessimistic because I think that if you really do want to pursue something, even if AI is at risk of taking it over, you should. If you want to do something artistic, you should do it because you like it. The advancement of AI is daunting, but time will pass, and AI will only get better and better. It's entirely up to you on how you're going to react to it.